I don't get mad or frustrated very often, but one thing that never fails to get a rise out of me is this. Abyss usage rate statistics, and in particular, Abyss usage rate tier lists have got to be the most useless, misleading thing that the community has ever come up with in a way to communicate the usefulness of a character, and I don't want to talk about it, but we're going to. Welcome to Genshin Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. Something that I see content creators talk about. It's something that I see all the time in Reddit. It's something I see often on my comments, and at first glance, I get it. Oh my gosh, nobody's using Candace. Nobody's using Mika. Those are bad characters. Everyone's using Nahida. Everyone's using Bennett Singcho, etc. Those are great characters. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because a unit is being used often does not mean that they are a good unit. But most of the time, good units are going to be used often. So as you can see right there, there's already a problem with usage rates. We have characters that we know are extremely strong, such as Sucrose, popping in at 3.5% usage rate, whereas other characters that we know are good but not incredible, for example, Baiju, at a 53.5% usage rate. So that's one problem. And if that was the only problem, it wouldn't be so bad. There's a couple misconceptions here and there, but it gets worse. When you stop and think about it, what do these Abyss usage rates actually mean? Does that mean you can only clear it? Only 4% of the people who tried to clear the Abyss with Kaya were able to do it? No. It means out of all the people that have Kaya, 0.4% used it in that clear and reported it. Well, that seems weird because everyone has Kaya, but not everyone has someone like Yoimiya. If we look at this by the way that it is, Yoimiya at 18.5% and Fischl is at 6.9%. So Yoimiya, she's like twice as good as Fischl, right? No, because almost everybody has a copy of Fischl, and 7% of those people who have Fischl used her to clear this Abyss, but everyone has Fischl, and 18.5% of those people who have Yoimiya cleared with Yoimiya. These stats also don't show how effective that character was at clearing the Abyss. Did they just barely 36 star, or did they 36 star with flying color? What constellation were these characters? And think about this, if you put all your wishes onto a Shenhe, or an Ayaka, or a Nilou, or a Yoimiya, are you not going to try and use them in the Abyss? If anything, this could represent player satisfaction with a character. Of course, it gives us some idea of how useful they are in Abyss. If a character that people wished for, such as Albedo, is used less than 6% in the Abyss, we can get a pretty decent idea that he's not that good in this particular Abyss. And we can get a pretty good idea that obviously these characters are very good in this Abyss as well. But Raiden mains, if you have a C2 Raiden, she just clears every Abyss just fine. If you wished for a character, you're pretty likely to use them. Baiju is a little bit more comfortable than Yaoyao and Kirara, but Yaoyao and Kirara are sitting in 4.7%, 4.3%, whereas Baiju is at 53%. Is Baiju 10 times better than Kirara and Yaoyao? Absolutely not. They basically fulfill the same role, but if you wished for Baiju, you spent your limited resources on a Baiju, he is a bit more comfortable. He's kind of like a combination of both of these two characters together. You're going to use him. I use my Baiju more than I use these two characters because he's just a little bit more comfortable. But there's another problem too. Characters that fulfill similar roles. I mentioned at the beginning that Sucrose is down at 3.5%, whereas Kazuha is at 90.9%. A ridiculous difference when a lot of people tout that Sucrose is just as good as Kazuha. Well, obviously this disproves it, right? Kazuha is obviously 20-30 times better than Sucrose is. Well, not necessarily. If you have both Kazuha and Sucrose and you only need them for one side, and everyone has Sucrose, and a lot of people have Kazuha, granted, even if they're both good in the Abyss, if you prefer using Kazuha, if he's more comfortable with which most people do, you will always choose him over Sucrose. All of this shows is that people have a preference towards Kazuha over Sucrose. It doesn't show that he's way better. It shows 90% of the people who have Kazuha are choosing it. If you can only have one or the other and you prefer Kazuha, then you choose Kazuha. And the more characters that get released that fulfill similar roles, the more that this spreads out. As more and more characters get released, the less this stat means, until it essentially means nothing. And we're pretty much at that point where it's meaning less and less and less and less and less. The point being is, it's a misleading statistic. It's not a useful statistic. It doesn't tell us anything about character power, and it certainly does not make a good tier list. And if you see anyone telling you that a character is good because they have a higher usage rate, it does not mean that character is good. It means that that character is widely used by the people who wished for them in that particular abyss. So you might be thinking, Jello, you've left us out in the cold. You say this stat is really bad, so what do I do? Well, fortunately, there are some really excellent resources that you can use to find out the information that you're trying to find out. If you're trying to use Abyss usage rates as some sort of power ranking tier list, well, I've actually made a power rankings tier list. This is the definitive power rankings tier list, and you can go check this out on my channel. It's a really good video. I spent a ton of time, and there's only a couple things that I would actually change at this point. They're pinned in the comment, and I spent a ridiculous amount of hours testing, researching, and making this video. This is, in my opinion, the actual best place to go on YouTube or anywhere to find the definitive power ranking for Genshin Impact characters. However, you might also be using the Abyss usage rates to find out what teams are good in this Abyss. And in that case, I have two amazing videos for you. One is, of course, my guide on this Abyss, and this video did really bad, so if you want to check it out and give it a like, let me know, because I do think it was a good video, although there are things that I can improve for the next time. And the other Abyss video that's really good is Zajef. Zajef does a complete breakdown on basically every single team in the game, and I love Zajef77. His channel is incredible. His is much more thorough. He goes through absolutely every single team in detail and fighting the monsters in detail, and mine is a bit more of a quick and dirty, giving you the types of teams that are good and giving you ideas for your teams that you can construct, because I don't know what you have on your account, and it's sort of a more quick and dirty video. Mine is, a 15-minute video, and his is, a 50-minute video. So both are really excellent, and I highly recommend checking all three of these videos out as really much better alternatives and ways of figuring out who is good in this Abyss and who is good overall. Please consider subscribing to make me feel better about my insanity from having to talk about this. It is the worst statistic in Genshin Impact. If you see anyone coming at you, be nice to them and kindly send them this video or any video on this topic. I'm sure that other creators have done these in the past, but I'm still seeing it thrown around all the time. So we needed to make it again, much to my dismay. Just gotten full time on the channel, so all those subscribes are really helping me and my family out. We have a Discord in the description if you want to join that. We're launching a Patreon as well. And if you don't want to do any of those things, that is totally fine. Just watching the video has been more than enough. Thanks so much, and bye for now.